You know, if you've watched very many of my videos at all, a lot of times I might say something at the beginning of them. Well, in this situation, there is no right way to do this. I realize that I should have been showing this, but I got the yoke off, and it looks pretty good. I mean, I'm going to have to sandblast it or something, but I can reuse it. Very hot. I had to heat it to get it off the splice, and I've gotten this moving a little, but the bearings having to be beat off of it. Alright, you know, I might be able to clean that bearing up and reuse that. And seeing me get the pinion, that pinion, out of the rear end, I got the bearing off of it. Broke it, but I got it off of it. I've already done measurements. Left my marker open. The truck pinion is an inch 440. The car is an inch 630. What that means is that's a car in a race. That's the only difference in that pinion. They're the same height. This is the car's yoke. It's dirty. That's the car's yoke. It fits. It's the same thread on the nut. It's the same everything. The only difference is the bearing size. I'm going to try to show you some of this. You know, I don't know how they are around your neck of the woods, but you can get a truck 12-bolt rear end for about 50 bucks, and they had all kinds of different gears in them. And maybe there might be that one person out there that would be interested in seeing what you had to do to put truck gears in a car rear end, because as far as I'm aware, there is no video showing it. And almost every forum I've looked up says you can do it, but you shouldn't do it. But they don't explain what you had to do it, really. I'm going to try to show you, even if it ends up not being that good of a video, it will at least exist, and maybe somebody can learn something from it. A few years ago, I got given those. The one on the right's not that bad. It's beginning to have some wear, but it'll be okay for a while longer. The one on the left has a small groove wore into it where the axle bearing rests. But it won't be running where it would have been running. This is one axle seal, two axle seals, axle bearing, another axle bearing, SKF. This is the cheapest kit they sell on Rock Auto for a 12-bolt rear end. It's got the stuff in it for marking the gears. It's got a little brush. It's got a new crush sleeve, pinion bearings, carrier bearings, everything. So here in a second you'll understand why I went ahead and opened this. Alright, So, I didn't show any of them making that adapter, and I'm not going to say who made it for me, because all I am going to say about that is I appreciate that he did it, and I appreciate that he did it when he didn't have to. I ain't holding anybody responsible for this idea, because it was my idea. It ain't that a shop came up to me and said, hey, we can fix this. No, I asked around and found somebody that would make that adapter, and it's between me and him, and I'm fine with that. But what he did is he used the lathe, and he took a piece of solid bar stock, and he machined it down inside and out, cut it off, chamfered it, did all that stuff, heated it, oil hardened it, then heated it up and put it on the pinion for me and let it cool down, and it's as hard as you could get it to be out of the material that it was. Then he polished it until it's the same identical size as the original one. I then put a bearing on it with a 25 thousandths shim, and that's pretty much set in concrete. If it's off really, really far, I'm going to have to figure out how to get that bearing back off. I may just probably ruin the bearing and cut the bearing off. But because the bearing's cheaper than trying to have that redone, I don't want to have it redone again. I don't want to bother anybody with that again. So if the bearing, if it's not got the right offset, if it's not got the right pinion depth, I'll cut the bearing off and get another bearing. Try it again. So the pinion's on it. Here's the race. These are cheap ass, I don't know what, Chinese SKF bearings. Just dirt cheap. It is what it is. It's all had a very, very rough life. And after I put it together and drive it a little bit, I'll change the grease 2 or 3 times. And if it stays together, it stays together. But I would imagine eventually it's just a matter of time before a bearing would eat itself anyway. And there's nothing I can do about that. So this isn't the right way to do something. But I already said that at the beginning of the video. There is no right way to do this. Sure, I could probably have that rear end acid dipped or something and get all the rest out of it. But look, I'm not going to do that. So that kind of is what it is when it comes to that. I could have avoided a lot of headache and a lot of work by buying a new gear set. They're about $150, the cheapest ones I can find. But the problem is with that, it's the cheapest ones I can find aren't what I want. And what I want is around a 307, 308, something like that. I would settle for a 331. But I want a really highway gear. I can't see spending the money to buy that gear. If I have to buy a gear because this messes up, it'll probably be a 331, and that'll be what I have. So that's all further down the road. This is just to get me on the road for now. It can always be redone later. But I think he did pretty good. What I ended up doing is engine cleaner, a wire brush, and just washed it out.